The senator from Tennessee.
Thank you, Madam President. Since day one of this administration, President Biden has made it abundantly clear that he's not interested in the opinion of anyone who poses a threat to his so-called transformative political agenda. During his first 3 days in office, he signed 30 executive orders and actions that embraced radical environmental policies, destroyed thousands of jobs associated with the Keystone Pipeline, and transformed our southern border into a war zone. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle jumped on board with a reckless plan to borrow and spend our way into economic oblivion. They've made it clear that despite having no mandate from the American people and no meaningful buy-in from Republicans, they're willing to do whatever it takes to transform this country into a wasteland defined by debt, dependency, and total government control. They're alone in this, and for the past 9 months, that's the way the Democrats have really wanted it to be, at least until recently, when it became, oh yes, politically inconvenient. Lately, my Democratic colleagues have burned a lot of political capital insisting that Republicans must come back to the table to help them raise the debt limit and avoid a doomsday scenario. That's right. They are the party of party line votes, and they can't find it within themselves to finance the cost of their very own reckless spending plans. Why this sudden shift in sentiment? The answer is simple. It's because they know that what they're doing is indefensible. They don't want to own this. They don't want to have to explain to their children and their grandchildren who are now stuck with the tab. What are they going to say when their grandchild says, "Why does the federal government take most of my money?" Well, it's because of their spending. I don't blame them. If the Democrats have it their way, the national debt will hit more than $40 trillion by the end of the decade. That is correct. $40 trillion. The American people can already feel the effects of this inflationary spending every time they go to the grocery store, every time they go to the gas pump. It looks like that inflation is going to be with us until the end of the Biden presidency. They've also noticed that our supply chains are running thin. As we speak, Democrats are negotiating the largest package of tax increases in decades. And contrary to the spin from the White House, those tax increases will hit small businesses and hard-working taxpayers. Now, let's be clear. This all happened according to plan. It is intentional. But here's the problem. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle are realizing that all those persuadable voters they won in 2020 are having buyer's remorse. They realize this is intentional by the Democrats. They may have voted for President Biden, but as they tell me, they did not vote for this. The Democrats have made a mess, and I'll tell you what, they did it in record time. The only option that they have left is to find a friend to try to share the blame. I will play no part in facilitating this radical socialist agenda. I would say to my Democratic colleagues, you've known for a long time that this day was coming, and yet you were content to squander your power on a unilateral, multi-trillion-dollar agenda for which you have no mandate and you can't pay for. Leader McConnell did not do this to you. Donald Trump did not do this to you. This is indeed an emergency of your own creation. Elections have consequences. As such, you control the entire government, and there is no one standing in your way. You chose to govern alone, and fortunately, you have all the tools you need to do your duty and address the debt limit right by yourselves. The time for manipulation and spin is over. I yield the floor.